Okay, so I wanted to do a deck tech video for the first time. I've never done one before. But yeah, I recently just built one out for Clive, Ifrit's Dominant. It is from Final Fantasy 16. Really one of the only Final Fantasies that I was kind of interested in. So he seemed pretty cool to me. So just getting right into it, he is a 4 and then 4 colorless and 2 red. He's a 5/5 legendary creature, human noble warrior. When Clive enters, you may discard your hand, then draw cards equal to your devotion to red. So which means is however many, like whatever the cost for each card is, counts as your devotion. So if something costs, I don't know, 2 red, that's 2 devotion, and then 3 devotion, so on and so forth. And then you can pay 4 and 2, tap him, and then exile him, return him under the battle to the battlefield, transform under the owner's control, activate only as a sorcery. So he'll return as Ifrit, Wardens of Inferno. And so this makes sense because in the game he turns into Ifrit, big old monster guy, starts fighting big old other monsters, so it's pretty cool. He is a 9/9 saga like demon. He, for his first stage of the saga, Ifrit fights up to 1 other target creature, which basically means you pick a creature and not like attacking, I guess, but since he's probably going to be stronger than whatever creature you pick, it will kill that creature, and then like you go on and do what the rest of your turn. And then for his second and third phase of the saga, you add 4 red, and then if he has 3 or more lore counters on him, exile it, return it to the battlefield face up. So after you do your third one, he will get exiled and then return back as Clive. And so then whenever Clive enters, you may discard your hand and then draw as many cards equal to your devotion to red. So you just go back and forth. So I have all of the deck like cards or whatever separated into different categories. Let me know if they kind of make sense in the comments or anything like that. I try to do it a little bit different than some other deck tech videos I saw. I know some people go by just creatures and this and that, so I try to just make it how I think makes sense. So let me know in the comments if it makes sense or anything, and also let me know in the comments your favorite Final Fantasy commander. I've been trying to make a couple decks for different things, so I have one for VV right now. I'm still working on that one, so hopefully it comes out good. The theming of this deck I built it around was being super aggressive because of you having to draw so many cards, and then also your hand size being only 7, you will be having to discard a lot of cards. So you don't want to end up drawing yourself out, so you're gonna have to be super aggressive. So I have it kind of separated into the aggressiveness of the deck and then different things that bounce off of discarding. So that's kind of how I built it, is aggressive and discard triggers. So let's just get into the different categories now for it. So the first category I have is literally just Final Fantasy cards. It fits the theming. I just wanted to put them in there because they're cool. They still fit pretty good. So the first card I have is Gigas, however you say it. 4 drop, 4, and then 2 red drop, 5/4, trample haste, not anything too special. She's pretty good. Menace, 2/3, deals lightning damage, combat damage to a player. Exile the top card of your library, or when lightning deals combat damage to a player. You may play that card for as long as you control lightning, so that's pretty cool. So any of those cards that get exiled, as long as you keep control of her, you're able to play them yourself. Sabin Master Monk, 4 and then 1 red. He is a 4/3 double strike blitz. You may cast this card from your graveyard using its blitz ability. Pretty cool. If he keeps dying, you'll at least keep getting somebody in over and over again. So pretty cool. So this one's more of a expensive card. It's Summon Bahamut, however you say it. It's just because I pulled this one, and so I left it in there. He is a 9/9, a Saga Dragon, and then his first 2 Saga lore counters, or whatever they're called, is destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent, which is pretty good. And then the third one is draw 2 cards, and then the fourth one is this creature deals damage equal to the total mana value of other permanents you control to each opponent, which is pretty good if you have a whole bunch of stuff out on the board. And then we have Summon Esper Valagard-Menda, I think that's how you say it. It is a 3 and a red, 3/3 Saga Drake, flying in haste. Exile an instant or sorcery card from each graveyard for its first Saga counter, and then for 2 through 4, it is add red for each lore counter on this Saga. You may cast an instant or sorcery card exiled with this Saga, and then mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. You would be using red for this deck, of course. And then the next is Summon GF Ifrit, which is the demon that is in 16. I don't really know the lore because this one is from 8. From what I've gathered, I think there's just summons, and he is just like a main summon, like something happens in 16 where it gets like attached to him, maybe. Don't really know, but you know, explain to me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. So he's a 3/2 Saga Demon, and then 1 and 2, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card, and then 3 and 4 is add a red mana. And then we have Zeldin, I think, Dinched, and then he is a 2 and a red and a 0/3, and you may play additional lands on each of your turns. That's pretty good for mana ramping, especially since we're going to be wanting to be aggressive. So if we end up getting him super early, we'd be able to keep spitting out some lands over and over. He gets +1/0 for each land that we control, so that's pretty good. And then at the beginning of your end step, return a land you control to its owner's hand. And then I have Call of the Mountain Chocobo. It's a 3/1 red sorcery. Search your library for a mountain card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Create a 2/2 green bird creature token with whenever a land you control enters, this token gets a +1/0 until the end of turn. So that would be pretty good, especially if we're getting 2 lands off per. And then it has flashback, and you can do it from the graveyard and then exile it. And then we have Nibelheim of Flame, which is 2 and 2 red. Choose target creature you control. It deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. If this spell was cast from your graveyard, discard your hand and draw 4 more cards. That's more discard triggers. It is a lot of damage, so you're gonna have to be a little, you know. One of the cooler cards in the set that I like is a Suplex. It's a 1 and a red, and then choose 1. Suplex deals 3 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead, or you can exile target artifact. This one's funny because in 6, apparently you're running away, and then literally this guy turns around. I don't remember his name, but he turns around and suplexes a train. So that's pretty cool. And then we have Ultimate Magic Meteor. It's a 5 and a 1, and it deals 7 damage to each creature. If this spell was cast from exile, for each opponent, choose an artifact or land that player controls. Destroy the chosen permanents, and then Foretell is the doing it from the graveyard. Then we have the Fire Crystal, legendary artifact. It's a 2 and then 2 red. Red spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, or that's pretty good. And then creature controls, creatures you control have haste, which is really good for the aggressiveness of this deck. And then it is 4 and 2 red. Tap it, create a token that's a copy of a creature you control. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. That's pretty good. Then we have a triple triad. It is 3 and then 3 red. It's an enchantment, and at the beginning of your upkeep, each player exiles the top 3 cards of their library. Until the end of turn, you may play the card you own exiled this way, and each other card exiled this way with lesser mana value, than it without paying its mana cost. Sorry, it's a lot of words, but it's a lot of good words, so it's pretty good. You get to play a whole bunch of stuff. So if you just play your own, and then everything under that from everybody else's, that you get to play those as well. That's pretty cool. And then the last one for this category, for the all just Final Fantasy cards category, is Judgment Bolt. It is 3 and 1 red. Judgment Bolt deals 5 damage to target creature, and then X damage to the creature's controller, where X is the number of equipments you control. So you don't carry many equipments, but it was another instant that does 5 damage. So kind of wanted that out. So the next category I wanted to do, just because it's really, really quick, is planeswalkers. I only have 2 planeswalkers in here that I thought would fit. It is Chandra, Dressed to Kill. It is a 1 and then 2 cost, 1 and then 2 red cost. And then it has +1 ability, add 1 mana, deals 1 damage up to a 1 target player or planeswalker. And then the other 1-up ability is exile the top card of your library. If it's red, you may cast it this turn. And then there's a -7 ability, which is exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may cast red spells from among them this turn. You get an emblem with whenever you cast a red spell, this emblem does X damage to any target where X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. That is pretty crazy, especially if you get a whole bunch of those emblems all at once. And then the next one is Chandra's Torch of Defiance. It is a 2 and then 2 red, and then it is has 2 1-up abilities, -3 ability, and then -7. Exile the top card of your library. You may cast that card. If you don't, Chandra Torch of Defiance does 2 damage to each opponent. And then the next one is add 2 mana, which is pretty good, just more mana ramp. And then the -3 is Chandra Torch of Defiance, deals 4 damage to target creature. And then the -7 is you get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, this emblem deals 5 damage to any target. So that's pretty good bouncing off of each other, because you're going to be casting a lot of spells with this deck, especially if you're going to be a lot more aggressive than others. So the next category I have is the hastemakers. So we have Anger here for the first one. He is a 3 and then 1 red, 2/2. He has haste himself, but as long as Anger is in your graveyard and you control a mountain, creatures you control have haste. So everything that you play ends up having haste. That adds a little bit more to the aggressiveness. You're going to be fighting a lot more, especially if you get him killed first. The next one is Archetype of Aggression. It is a 1 and then 2 red. And then creatures you control have trample. Creatures your opponents control lose trample and cannot have or gain trample, and it's a 3/2. I put this one in this category because there wasn't really any other category to put this in. It's more of like a debuff, which is kind of fits you buffing with haste, but it just adds a little bit more to the aggressiveness with haste, and then everybody having trample constantly. And then the next one is Urabrask the Hidden. Is 3 colorless and 2 red mana. Creatures you control have haste. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. So everything you have has haste once more, and then everything else enters in tapped. So even on other people's turns, all those creatures are going to be tapped, and then you're going to be going back to your turn, just going over and over again. So that's pretty good. And then the last card I have for this category is Footfall Crater. It is a 1 cost, and it's an enchantment aura. You enchant the land, and then enchanted land has target creature gains trample and haste until the end of turn. So if you don't have any of those out, you can just start tapping it for whichever one you're sending. So that one's one of the better ones. And for the next category is one of the more important ones, is actually cards that deal with discarding, because you are going to be discarding a lot of cards, especially if you're trying to play as much as possible. Like whenever you flip Clive and he enters back into the battlefield, and you do end up drawing that many cards and then discarding your hand, you're going to be discarding a lot. So you're going to be getting a lot of +1s, you're going to be getting a lot of damage, and so on and so forth. So the first one we have is Brawlin Skyshark Rider. He is a 3 and then a 1 red, and then you can partner him with Shabraz the Sky Shark. And then whenever you discard a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Brawlin Skyshark Rider, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So you're going to be doing that a lot, at least 7 times whenever you discard your hand. And then, well, at least 7 times when you discard, depending on how much your, what's it called is. You could have like 30 devotion, who knows. And so you can also pay 1. Target shark gains trample until the end of turn. And then you have Glinthorn Buccaneer. He is a 1 and 2 red. He has haste himself, and then whenever you discard a guard, he deals 1 damage to each opponent. And then you're able to pay to discard a card if you want. There's no point in really doing that. You can draw a card technically, but I mean, you're going to be doing it a lot anyway, so there's no point in paying for it. but still really good on that 1 damage per each opponent. And then you have Evora, Insatiable Air. It is a 1 and a red, and she has trample, and whenever she enters and whenever it deals damage to a player, create a blood token, and then whenever you discard a card, put a +1/+1 on Evora. And then one of my favorite cards in this deck, I really like this little guy, Marauding Mako, one or the other, but he is a 1 cost, and he is a shark, so if you want to combine him with the other card to give, you know, the sharks the buffs, then you can do it with at least him. But whenever you discard 1 or more cards, put that many +1/+1 counters on this creature. He also has cycling, but you know, I don't know how much you're going to be doing that whenever you're going to be drawing cards no matter what. And the last card I have for the discard section is a Surly Badger Soar. It is a 3 and a red, and whenever you discard a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on him, and then whenever you discard a land, put create a treasure token. And then whenever you discard a non-creature, non-land card, he fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So you got to be kind of wary of what you discard whenever you are doing it if you don't want him to fight anything, but he can pay off really good, especially if you get him really, really big. You can get him big real fast. So that's the last card I have for this section. And I did want to make a note. I don't have every single card in this video, but I will be leaving the deck list in the description, so you can go check it out yourself if you want. The next category I have here, I just want to call it just the aggressors category. It's a few cards that I think are really, really aggressive and did fit this deck. They don't really bounce off of anything, but I do think that they are needed in this deck, especially if you do give them haste or trample or anything like that. And so the first creature I have is Atali Primal Storm. We all know Atali. Everybody loves him. Everybody hates him. Both at the same time. He is a 4 cost, 2 red, and then whenever he attacks, exile the top cards of each player's library. Then you may cast any number of spells from among them without paying their mana cost. So that's really good. So basically just keep taking everybody else's cards, and those are more cards that you're able to send at everybody else. The next one is Fanatic Amogus. He is a 3 and a 1, and then whenever Fanatic Amogus enters the battlefield, it deals damage to each opponent equal to your devotion of red. So if your devotion of red is super, super high, you're going to be doing a lot of damage. Then the next one after that is a Fear of Missing Out. It is a 1 and a red. Whenever Fear of Missing Out enters, discard a card, then draw a card. Whenever Fear of Missing Out attacks for the first time, each turn, if there are 4 more card types in your graveyard, untap target creature. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So that's going to be really good because you are most certainly going to have multiple different card types in your graveyard. The next one after that, following the theme of extra turn phases, is Karlach, Fury of Avernus. It is a 4 and a red. I actually have a deck with her. I got her Secret Lair cards for a birthday gift, and so I immediately made a deck, but that was only last year and like a couple months into me playing, so I didn't really have that much experience on making decks. So maybe I'll make a video on that and then improving it. So I think that'd be a pretty cool video idea. Let me know in the comments if you would like that. And so she is, whenever you attack, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap all attacking creatures. They gain first strike, and then until the end of the turn, and then after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. And she also has choose a background. I don't have any backgrounds in here, so it's not really going to work with that. And then the next one is Leyline Tyrant. I think I'm saying that right. It is a 2 and then red, 2 red, and then it has flying, and then you don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. Now this one I'm a little lost on. I'm going to be honest. I don't know exactly what that means. It says steps and phases. So does that mean like whenever your turn ends, you don't do that? Or is that a separate thing from like your end step? Because I know your end step counts as like a step, but does like a turn ending mean you lose all that mana? That part I don't really know. So it's really good if you get like all of your unspent red mana just up. Like if you have nothing else to do, just start tapping and then try to get rid of him if you want. Like if your hand is really like just gone and you have nothing else to do, just tap all your mountains and then just throw him out there and hopefully he dies, maybe. So that would be pretty good. So whenever this creature dies, you may pay any amount of red. When you do, it deals that much damage to any target. So that's where I'm kind of lost on, like, if your turn ends, do you keep that floating mana? Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about that, but I'm kind of lost on that. But otherwise, even not, it is still a good card. And then the last card I have for this is Nahib the Eternal. It is a 3 and then 2 red. He has Afflict 3. Whenever this creature becomes blocked, defending player loses 3 life. So no matter what, he's going to be losing 3 life. Then at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, add red for each 1 life your opponent's lost this turn. So that's pretty good, because you could be getting 3 even if he gets blocked or anything, or you could be getting 4 plus whatever else you are like throwing at each creature or each player. Okay, so the next section that I have is more of like ramp cards. It's kind of weird because I mixed in some like treasure makers in there, which is pretty good because you're going to be needing a lot of mana, especially if you're trying to get most of what you gain from Clive's ability into your hands. You want to start playing them rather than discarding most of them. So it's pretty good to have some mana makers. And so I included treasure token generators. So the first one is Professional Facebreaker. As Menace, or it's a 2 and then 1 red, and then it has Menace, and then whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage, create a treasure token, and then you can sack a treasure token, exile, whatever. You can do that if you want, but personally I would be keeping the treasure tokens for the next stuff that you're wanting to do. And then I have Ragavan, a Nimble Proliferer. I only put this in here. I know it's an expensive card. I only put this in here because I pulled the Final Fantasy version of it. I just like this art more than the Final Fantasy version of it, so I'm including this one. But that's the only reason I have it, is because I pulled that version of it. Otherwise, I would not be putting this expensive of a card into a deck. It is a 1 red cost, and then whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token, and then exile the top card of that player's library. Until the end of turn, you may cast that card. And it also has dash. If you pay that one, it ends up getting haste. And then, like, this one's not that great. Simeon Spirit Guide. It's a 2 and a red. It's a 2/2, but you can exile it from your hand and then add red. I mean, it's pretty good, but it's monkey. I just like the monkey, so I put him on there. Next one after that is Sunset Strike Master. It is a 1 and a red, and then you can tap it for a red, or you can sack it and deal 6 damage to target creature with flying. If there's no flying, might as well not even try. Just keep it for the ramp. And then the next one after that is Mana Geyser. It is a 3 and then 2 red, and then add a red for each tapped land on your opponent's control. It's pretty expensive, but if you get to your turn and everybody is basically tapped out, that's going to be really good in your favor, especially if it's late game. That's going to be a really good late game card. And then the last one I have for like more of like the mana rampy kind of category is Seething Song. It is a 2 and a red, and then it's add 5 red. So kind of a weird one. I don't really like these cards as much, but I put this in here just in case you need a lot of red. So I don't think you would really need it too much, but it's something to throw in there just in case it comes up. Sometimes you end up needing all pure red instead of actually having just some colorless or anything like that. So just threw it in there. So the next one I have, we're starting to get into more of like the normal. I think I got 2 categories left, and we're kind of just in the normal stuff. Like this one is just enchantments. The first one I have is Blood Moon. I guess not a lot of people like this one, but it's kind of good for your mono red deck. And then it is a 2 and a red, non-basic lands or mountains. So good for you. Not good for everybody else. This one card alone puts it into a bracket 4, I'm pretty sure, because it says mass land denial. This is not a bracket 4 deck. This is not optimized in the slightest. Everybody could do some better things. This deck is not expensive at all. I think whenever I was building it, it was like $200. If you go look at the architect in the description, it says like $400. That's because it picked every single most expensive card like type, like the version of each card which was most expensive. But if you go and look, it's really not that expensive of a deck. It is because Magic prices are inflated, but it's not that expensive of a deck. It's not that well optimized because I wasn't spending thousands and thousands of dollars on one card. So keep that in mind. This is definitely not a 4, but let me know what you think it is in the comments. I don't think it's a 4, but just let me know what you think. The next one is City on Fire, which is a really good one. It is really expensive. It is 5 and 3 red, and it has Convoke, which you can use your creatures to do it instead of actually using your mana. And then if a source you would control would deal damage to a permanent, it would deal triple that damage instead. So adds more and more you being aggressive and sending everything out there trying to get them real fast. The next one is Count on Luck. It is a 3 red. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. So if you don't have anything in your hand, exile the top card of your library, and then just play it if you want. And then the next one after that is just one I like because it's going to be even more aggressive towards other players are going to be more aggressive towards this person. So it's Curse of Opulence. It costs 1. And then it is a Aura Curse. And so you enchant a player. You don't enchant a you enchant a player, you don't enchant a creature or anything. So whenever enchanted player is attacked, create a gold token. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. So everybody attacking them basically just gets free mana. So they're gonna be really targeted. So if someone's trying to win real fast, just throw that sucker on them because that's gonna be really great. Or if you just want luck to go with it, you just flip a coin or roll a die, depending on how many players you're playing with. And then the last one I have is Fiery Emancipation. It is a 3 and then 3 red. And then if a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage to that permanent or player instead. So that combined with City on Fire is going to be 6 times extra damage. That's going to be ridiculous. And so the last one I have is just basic artifacts. It's just Arcane Signet. Everybody knows what Arcane Signet does. One of the more important ones I have is actually Thought Vessel. So it is, you have no maximum hand size. So whenever you discard your hand and you draw more, you really don't have to get rid of anything that much because you're just going to be having this like hand of like 30 different cards because of your devotion to red. I mean, you don't have to get rid of them, so that's pretty good. The next one is Gauntlet of Power. It is a 5 cost, and then it's as Gauntlet of Power enters the battlefield, choose a color, which it's going to be red, and then creatures of the chosen color get +1/+1. That's going to be just more damage for everybody. And then whenever a basic land is tapped for mana of any chosen color, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of that color. I have a ton of basic land, basic mountains in this deck. It's going to be really good for that. The next one is just Soul Ring, because of course everybody needs a Soul Ring. And then after that is Heraldic Banner. It is a 3 cost, and then choose a color. Creatures of the chosen color get +1/+0, and then it taps for mana. And then after that is Monument of Endurance. It is a 3 cost, and then whenever you discard a card, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. So you're going to be able to get all 3 of these in one turn. So it's draw a card, create a treasure token, each opponent loses 3 lives. So that's going to be really good for every single turn. So yeah, that's the highlights of this deck. Let me know what you would change, let me know what you would add, and let me know your favorite part of the deck. You know, that's what I really like about Magic. You could take this same card and completely turn it into something completely different than what I did. I went for a discard and aggressive route. You can turn it into a pure aggressive route. You can turn it into a tick damage route, and you can do whatever you want. And that's what I really like about Magic. Somebody could have the same deck as you, but actually very, very different. There could be a level 1 Clive Ifrit's dominant, or you can have a level 5 Clive Ifrit's dominant that's ready for tournament. You never know. It's always, it's up in the air. So let me know if you enjoyed. Let me know what you would change. If you haven't subscribed, I suggest you subscribe. That'd be pretty cool of you. If you're already down there, you should like and comment as well. And yeah, I hope everybody has a good night, and I will see you when I see you. Bye-bye.